guys, Christine here with Sheridan Art and Designs, and today I'm bringing you my top 5 tips for buying the right cosplay pattern. So if you, like me, sometimes struggle with finding the exact right pattern for the project you're working on, these will be tips to help you find, maybe an unconventional solution to getting a cosplay pattern so that you can work on your project. So with that in mind, let's get started. Number 1 is remember to look outside the pattern section. So if you're looking through those big books at a fabric store, they have all the patterns and there's like a little section for costumes. Remember to look at the rest of the book. Most of these pieces that we're putting together are they're shirts or coats or pants. So make sure you look in the men's fashion or the women's fashion too, just to see if you can find something that's gonna be similar that you can make a few quick modifications to, or even just use a different type of fabric for to make your cosplay. So a perfect example of that are right behind me here. For this Cruella coat, I couldn't find a Cruella costume pattern that I wanted for this. So I found a jacket pattern. So with a few quick modifications to this regular jacket pattern, I was able to make this cosplay. All I did was change the collar shape and I belled out the sleeves a little bit, and there you go. I have now a Cruella coat from this pattern that you might not suspect could look like that, right? The other one that's really outside the box is for Mr. Smee over here, his little pirate vest under his jacket. It's actually a Hawaiian shirt pattern. I needed something really fast and easy to throw together this vest. I didn't want to make my own because it takes longer, and I really wanted to get this project working. So I was looking for something that had a kind of baggier fit with a collar that I could mod to make this vest for him. So Hawaiian shirt fit the bill. I nixed the sleeves. I changed kind of the closures for these buttons and ties. And I moved the pocket around, and with that it became a pirate vest, right? So don't always think you have to find it in the costume section. It could be in any section of that book or any website online. Sometimes it's really hard to find the specific pattern for the specific costume you're looking for. With that in mind, also think about the fit or the vibe you're looking for, right? So like the Cruella coat is a really baggy coat, so that's what I looked for. I just looked for kind of a baggy, oversized coat that I could change little things about to make it the right fit. Same with the vest over here. I just needed something a little oversized that already had a collar that I didn't have to make, and there you go. So that leads me into tip number 2. Tip number 2 is it doesn't have to be a 100% match. So the perfect example for that is this coat right here. So I actually did find the pattern for this in the costume section. It's kind of this, I guess, George Washington coat that is a pretty big staple in all those costume sections. You can find a lot of coat patterns that look like this, but I took up the hem, I nixed the little pockets and changed the lapel a little bit, and there you go. Now it's now it's a pirate coat that fits the Smee costume that I was going for. Just with a change of fabric and a few modifications to the collar and lapels, I was able to make it look totally different than what's on the package. So that leads me into tip number 3. Don't be afraid to ignore the pattern instructions. So for this, I completely disregarded the collar construction instructions in here because I knew I wasn't going to have a turnover collar. I was just going to have a stand collar. So I only cut out that one piece and disregarded the instructions for the other pieces. If you're changing things like button fastenings, just skip over that part of the instructions. No one will know that you didn't follow the instructions perfectly, because when it's done, it'll look great and it'll look like it was totally meant to be that way. So don't always feel like if it doesn't look like this, it's not right? So like it'll tell you on here what kind of fabric to use. Ignore that. If you're going for something different, then just pick your fabric based on what the cosplay looks like. And most fabrics you can kind of make work in the garment section of the store. So this is like a fuzzy, I guess, felt fabric that we found that worked for the coat that we were going for, but it's vastly different than the suggested fabric that they use. So don't feel like it all has to match and you have to follow the instructions to the letter, right? If it helps you, or if you're really new, follow the instructions for assembling pieces, but then all the extra stuff you can change a little bit and no one will know that you didn't follow those directions perfectly. So that leads me into number 4. Tip number 4 is know what modifications are fast and easy to make. So my rule of thumb is if all of the seams where all the pieces go together can stay pretty much the same, then almost everything else is really fast and easy to do. So for instance, on the Corella sleeve, I needed this really big bell sleeve. She has these really dramatic sleeves, but that isn't on the pattern, right? The fast part of this modification is that I left that seam at the shoulder the same. I didn't touch anything right along that piece that was on that seam. The only thing I changed was down here at the bottom of the sleeve. So all I did was expand out that sleeve pattern once it got to here on the pattern piece. And then it all goes together in the exact same way. It's just a bigger piece. So you still have this construction the same and you don't have to worry about matching those two pieces because you left those the same and the manufacturer's already, determined that those pieces go together well. So that is a fast, easy modification. You're just changing the shape of something. The same goes for the SME coat. The collar here was supposed to be a turnover collar and I wanted a stand collar. So that's actually 2 pieces and I just removed the top piece and left the seam where the collar attaches to the jacket the same. And all I changed was the shape of this piece on the top. Same goes for this lapel. I left the construction where this goes to the coat. I left that alone and I just changed the shape of the outside. I brought it down so it doesn't connect to the shoulder and just left it connect in the front. So those are really fast, easy things that you can change that will totally change the look of a garment. Same goes for hems or sleeves. If you want a long sleeve versus a short sleeve, if you want a longer hem or a shorter hem, those are super easy things to change and it will change the entire look of something. So know what modifications are fast and easy to make. My rule of thumb is if you're not changing where the pieces go together, you can change almost anything else about it. Things like changing from a male fit to a female fit, adding in darts, things like that are totally possible too. They just take a little bit more time and a little bit more patterning construction know-how. You'll see that in a future video when we talk about our Captain Hook costume coming up. We're doing a female Captain Hook, but I used a male pattern for it. So we had to change a few things and those modifications took a little longer. But if you're looking for something fast and easy, I would say stay with either a unisex pattern, or if you're looking for, a female coat, try and stay with a female fit already, because then there will be less things to change about it. But with that being said, you can change a whole lot of stuff without, having to know exactly how arm size are constructed or how bust darts work. Neither of these projects required me to change anything like that. So keep that in mind. Number 5 is don't give up. Sometimes it can take a really long time to find the right pattern, and you can have this idea in your head for weeks or months and you just can't find the right fit. But don't give up. I promise they're coming out with new patterns all the time, and eventually you'll look at something and you go, I think I can make that work. And really think outside the box. Don't give up just because you can't find something that looks like what you want. Look for a fit or a vibe that fits the cosplay you're going for. If you need a baggy, loose something, look for something that's already baggy and loose and then change the details. If you're looking for, and the same goes the other way, right? So if you're looking for something more fitted, start with something that is already fitted, change the details up to have it fit what you're looking for. All right, guys, those are my top 5 tips. I hope this helped you find the right pattern for you. If you guys have any tips of your own that you use, pop them in the comments. I'd love to know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.